Before I jump into today's video, I want to take a moment to respond to something that came up recently. Someone left a comment calling me a hypocrite for speaking critically of Dave Ramsey, since I used his program years ago, got certified through his coaching program, and built a debt-free life using many of the steps he teaches. And you know what? They're right about some of that. Yes, my husband and I did follow Dave's method to get out of debt. Yes, I became a certified Ramsey coach. And yes, I've taught thousands of women those similar principles tweaked a bit to make them work better because they work. But here's the thing I want to be really honest about. I'm allowed to grow, I'm allowed to evolve, I'm allowed to see things differently today than I did 10, 15, 20 years ago, and so are you. Over the years, I've worked with real women, midlife women, moms, caretakers, survivors who were struggling not just with debt, but with shame, guilt, fear, and burnout. And I started to see that sometimes the black and white approach didn't really work for everyone. That doesn't mean I've thrown away the foundation. I still believe in paying off debt, living below your means, and having a solid plan. But I've added compassion, flexibility, and real-life context. I didn't make that video to attack anyone or profit off a scandal. I made it because I believe women deserve to hear more than one voice in this space. And if my story, even the messy, evolving parts of it, can help just one person feel less ashamed and more empowered, then I'll keep sharing it. So to the person who left that comment, thank you for speaking your mind. And to everyone watching, you're allowed to grow too. You're allowed to outgrow people, methods, and ideas, and still carry the parts that serve you well. And that's what today's video is all about. Rebuilding from wherever you are. Even if you had a change of course, even if you've had to let go of a method that once worked, even if you're starting over at 50. If you're 50 or older and still dealing with debt, it can feel like you're drowning in shame, pressure, and questions you don't have answers for. Maybe you're wondering, how did I end up here? Is it too late for me? Will I ever be free of this? I want you to hear this loud and clear. You're not too late. You're not a failure. And if I had to start completely over it at my age right now, no savings, no safety net, just debt and bills and a whole lot of panic, I know exactly what I do to climb out of that hole. This isn't a plan for 20-year-olds with no responsibilities. This is for women like us. Women who've spent decades raising kids, working jobs, managing homes, helping aging parents, and now we're finally turning the spotlight back on ourselves. So let me walk you through it in plain, simple steps. The emotional reset, the practical to-dos, the mindset shifts, all of it. Step 1, I'd stop, breathe, and make space to think. I wouldn't start with a budget. I wouldn't even touch the calculator. I'd start with silence. I'd sit down with a hot cup of coffee, no phone, no background noise, just me, a notebook, and 10 minutes to breathe. Because when you're overwhelmed in a fight or flight, your brain can't make decisions. You react, you panic. You either shut down or make emotional choices just to escape the feeling. So I'd start by calming my nervous system. A morning routine with real food, a walk outside, deep breathing before the day starts. For 1 week. Something that tells my brain, you're safe, you've got this. This is the step most people skip, but it's the one that makes all the others work. Step 2, I'd gather the mess and write it all down. Once I could think straight, I'd sit down and list every single debt I had. Credit cards, store cards, personal loans, car loans, old bills. I'd write who I owe, how much, the minimum payment, and the interest rate. I wouldn't judge myself. I wouldn't panic. I'd just look at it like a laundry pile. It might be big, it might be ugly, but it's just a pile, and it can be sorted. There's power in seeing the full picture. That's when you stop guessing and start doing. It's only data. Step 3, I build a tiny emergency fund first. Before I put a dime toward debt, I'd build a little breathing room. $500? Maybe $1,000 if I could manage it. $3,000 would be the number that would make me feel the most secure. Because without a buffer, every unexpected thing, a flat tire, a vet bill, a broken fridge, sends you right back into the spiral. And then it's more debt, more panic, and more shame. So I'd sell what I could. I'd babysit, pet sit, do one-off side hustles, consult, cancel stuff. Every dollar would go into a little envelope labeled peace of mind. And once I had that small cushion, I'd feel just enough relief to stop gasping for air and start swimming forward. Step 4, I'd make a simple survival budget. Not a fancy spreadsheet, no color-coded categories, just a simple plan that covers rent or mortgage, groceries, utilities, gas, insurance, and your debt minimums. Then I'd circle everything that's non-essential, and I'd say, what can go for now? Streaming services, takeout, random Amazon orders, not forever, just for now, just for this season. But here's the thing I'd make very clear to myself. I don't have to cut everything. I just have to cut what's not serving me. If my $6 coffee makes me feel human in the middle of the chaos, I'm keeping it. If my Target runs are filling a void but making me broke, they're gone. Frugal isn't about being miserable. It's about being intentional. Now I have a free digital downloadable budget planner that you can print off and start using. The link is in the description below. Step 5, I'd pay off debt using the snowball or avalanche method. Now that I have breathing room and a basic budget, I'd pick my debt strategy. Snowball equals pay off the smallest balance first. Avalanche equals pay off the highest interest first. Both work. I'd choose what motivates me most. If seeing quick wins lights a fire under me, I'm snowballing. If I'm all about the math and long-term savings, avalanche it is. Now I teach my coaching clients the snowball method because quick wins create motivation. Either way, I'd make all the minimum payments, then throw every extra penny at my target debt until it's gone. And then I'd roll that amount into the next one, and so on. Step 6, I'd track every dollar for 30 days. I know this part feels tedious and annoying until it changes your life. I'd write down every single thing I spend for 1 month. Every coffee, every quick grocery run, every nail polish, every just $10 online order. Because seeing it in black and white, that's when the magic happens. You'll notice where your money's leaking, and suddenly you'll find $100 to $300 a month you didn't even realize was disappearing. That's not about guilt, it's about awareness. You can't change what you don't see, and you can't change your past, you can only change your future. Step 7, I'd find one way to bring in extra cash. Not a full-blown side hustle, not a second job unless I needed it. Just one simple thing I can do to bring in $100 to $200 more a month. That might be watching a neighbor's dog, driving Uber on the weekends, baking for the church fundraiser, selling stuff on Marketplace, house cleaning once a week. It doesn't have to be fancy, it just has to be doable. Now I'm going to leave a link above to a video that I did. It's an entire playlist all about side hustles and making some extra money. Small extra income turns into momentum, and that momentum turns into confidence. I'd use sinking funds for known expenses. You know what used to mess me up? Christmas, or back to school, or birthdays, or oil changes. Those once in a while expenses always snuck up and blew my whole budget. So I'd create sinking funds, little envelopes or savings buckets with names like holidays, or car repairs, gifts. Even $20 a month set aside makes a huge difference later. It's like telling your future self, don't worry, I've got you. Step 9, I'd automate what I can so I don't think about it. Once things are stable and everything has calmed down a little bit, you have a plan, I'd set it and forget it. Auto pay the minimums, auto transfer into savings on payday, set calendar reminders for due dates, check in weekly for like 5 minutes. Why? Because I don't want to think about money all day, every day. I want peace. I want my mental energy back. I want to be present in my life, not stuck in a shame spiral over bills. Automation gives me space to breathe and focus on living. Step 10, I'd change the way I talk to myself. This part, it might be the most important. If I had to start over at 50, I'd be really careful with my words. I'd stop saying I'm bad with money, I'll never catch up, I'm just too old to fix this. And start saying, I'm learning, I'm healing, I've got this. I'm making progress even if it's slow. You are not broken, you are not behind. You are a woman who's done her best in hard season, and now you're ready for something better. Talk to yourself like someone who deserves freedom, Because you do. Now, I go into a lot more detail in my book. You can find it on Amazon. The link is in the description or any place that they sell books. You're not starting over. You're starting fresh. Listen, starting over at 50 doesn't mean that you failed. It means you survived. And now you get to rebuild smarter, stronger, with fewer distractions and a cleaner purpose. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. $1 at a time, one small win at a time, one deep breath at a time. And if this video spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch this video next.